Today, we go over the top 3 best Town 11 attack strategies to use in 2020 and how you guys can 3-star any base design with them. What's going on, my friends? My name's Corrupt, and that is right, guys. We're going to be going over the top 3 best Town 11 attacks that you can use to crush any base design. So we're going to be starting off here at number 3, which is going to be the Zap Dragons. So what are you looking for to use a Zap Dragon attack? Well, for starters, we're going to be using the lightning spells on air defenses. A ZapQuake consists of using 2 lightning spells and 1 earthquake, and should be used on air defenses in this attack. We want to get rid of air defenses because they are the biggest threat to the dragons. So in this case, we're able to get rid of 2 of the air defenses by placing the lightning spells in between along with an earthquake. Another thing that we're going to be looking for is going to be using a Sui hero for another air defense, and possibly, if we can get the Stone Slimer to path over to it, another air defense. That way we're able to get rid of all 4 air defenses. Now that gives you guys a good idea of what you can do with this attack. And there are of course other ways of using your lightning spells. For instance, you can use the lightning spells as 3 lightning and no earthquake. That way, if you don't have max level earthquake, since I know some of you guys don't, you can use 3 lightning instead, which is it's going to be enough to get rid of an air defense. Another way is by just using the lightning spell and earthquake separately on a different air defense. So if the air defenses are spread apart, then it might be a better idea to use 4 lightning and 2 earthquake by using the ZapQuake on 2 different air defenses. So that kind of really gives you guys a good idea of what you could do. On top of this, what you want to make sure that you're trying to look for is going to be using the lightning spells, especially on the sweepers if possible. So you'll see that we're going to be using the lightning spells on the air defenses, and then we're going to use the lightning spells on the sweeper. That way we're able to easily get rid of them by using the earthquake. Now, another thing that we're going to be doing here in this case is going to be creating the funnel for our attack. So we've got the use of a Sui hero here, which is going to get rid of this air defense. But along with that, we're going to be using the E-Drag and a baby dragon to create this side of the funnel. That way, what we're going to be able to do is send in our dragons up towards this area, and that way we're able to control our dragons and go in the right direction. Notice how we place in the dragons first and then the balloons. That way we're able to keep the balloons alive, and when we pop the Warden of Eternal Tome, we're able to easily keep the balloons alive as they continue to move through. So you'll see that we're using the rage spells over the dragons and balloons to power them up, speed them through, and keep them protected using that Warden ability. That way we're able to easily move through, using the rage spells to boost the dragons to the core, as they are going to be your main damage dealer. On top of this, you may want to go ahead and use the heal spell if you have room for it. The heal can be a great spell because it'll keep your dragons and possibly any balloons in there in the fight, and that way what you're able to do is still push through the base. Now, there are multiple other things that you may want to consider if you are going ahead and using the Zap Dragons. For instance, if you go ahead and see that there are air defenses by sweepers, you can go ahead and use a ZapQuake, 2 lightning spells and 1 earthquake on both of them to get rid of it. But if you see something like a multi-target or single-target inferno right by an air defense, you could easily use the lightning spells on top of the, or in between the inferno and air defense, and use the other 2 lightning spells in between another building and the inferno to take care of it, and then using an earthquake to get rid of both of them. That way it's just a lot easier for you to get through the base. So that kind of really gives you a good idea of things that you can possibly add to your attacks. Cleanup is usually never an issue with the Zap Dragons. You'll most likely still have stuff like Dragons Up and E-Drags, and you could easily move through the base fairly quickly. It gives you a good idea of what you should be doing if you don't really have access to the max earthquake. I mentioned like 3 lightning spells, but you can also go ahead and just do a bunch of different things. It's a very flexible army. Now, this attack strategy is still really good, but not as good as the number 2 attack. In the number 2 spot, we have none other than the Zap Mass Witch. This attack strategy works incredibly well still, and it works well on a multitude of different Inferno Tower modes, like double single, one multi, and double multi. So what are you looking for in a base design to use this attack? Well, for starters, you want to go ahead and take a look at splash buildings. This is going to be anything that's ranging in from the wizard towers, so if you can get rid of them with the inferno tower, which is going to be the main thing that you're going to be using the lightning spells on, no matter if you're getting 1 or 2 of them, you can use the lightning spells on top of the infernos to get rid of them. On top of this, you should be then looking in for the Eagle Artillery, and if there's a single inferno, you don't even need to worry about it because it acts like a point defense. So the main thing that you're going to be going in for at that point is the Eagle Artillery. Now the other part that you will need to think about is if you need to use either a Siege Barrack or a Wall Wrecker. The Siege Barrack is a really good siege machine to bring, as it provides a way that you can either have more troops right behind the golems and the witches, along with that having the P.E.K.K.A. and the wizards, or you can use that to create a funnel, and that way what you're able to do is easily move into the base and creating a nice funnel for the rest of your witches to start moving into the base. So there's a couple options that you do have. Now instead, the Wall Wrecker can be chosen if the Eagle Artillery is in the core of the base and the pathing for the Town Hall is just right for the Wall Wrecker, so it can go straight through the core of the base or even go into the core of the base. So you may want to consider those factors if you're going to be choosing a specific siege machine. Now on top of this, you may want to go ahead and start off by using the lightning spells on multiple defensive buildings, not just itself. So you're going to be seeing the use of the lightning spells along with the earthquake on things like the altar, wizard tower, and the inferno. That way we're able to get them down, creating some nice pathing and making sure that we're able to get through. Now on each side here, we're going to be using a golem and 4 witches to create the funnel. Then we're going to be using 2 ice golems to provide a tank while sending in the rest of the witches here. That way it's going to make it a lot easier. So you'll see that we're going to be using the king, queen, and the warden to push in with them, and we've also got the use of the siege barrack to provide more of a tank and also to provide a funnel for the witches that are moving into the core. Now you'll see the use of the jump spell. Usually you're going to be using the jump or the jump and super wall breakers. So if you don't have access to the super wall breakers, just stick to using the jump spells. Now you can use free spells instead of using the lightning spells when you're dealing with single target infernos. That way it's a lot easier for your heroes to move through. You don't have to pop the ability so early, but you can also protect your witches through splash related buildings like bomb towers and also wizard towers. But you'll see as you're pushing in, you can use the free spells absolutely wherever that you need to. For instance, if you need to protect some witches or a group of heroes kind of still moving through, or even hog riders, you can easily move through. And you can see how we still have a lot of these hog riders alive. They're going to push in for other parts of the base, and if they can get an Eagle Artillery, that is also a really good way of allowing the rest of your hog riders to still get some sort of value while the rest of your army pushes through. But it gives you a really good incentive in using this attack strategy, and there's a multitude of different things to, of course, worry about. For instance, not getting the Eagle Artillery, having the witches starting to really thin out by having other defenses pick them off one by one, but it's a very easy approach that you guys can use with this attack strategy nonetheless. So that kind of gives you guys a really good idea of using it versus one single and one multi. However, there is still an easier attack there's still a better attack than the witches here, and that is going to be the #1 spot. Last but not least, in the #1 spot, you may have guessed it already, but it's going to be the Lavaloon attack. The one that we're looking at here is the Zap Lalo, but we want to talk about Lavaloon in general. So what are you looking for in any Lavaloon attack? Well, this is going to be the enemy clan castle troops, the clan or the Eagle Artillery, and the enemy queen. Those are going to be your 3 primary threats. Now, if you're doing a ZapQuake Lavaloon, then you want to be able to get rid of the clan castle and the queen, and maybe the Eagle Artillery if it's close. Now, there are a couple different things that you may want to consider about this. For instance, if the queen is a little bit harder to reach and you can't use a Sui hero to get her, or you can't use the lightning spells to get her, then it might be better idea to just go ahead and use a queen charge over a Sui hero. More often than not, if you don't see a lot of good ZapQuake value, this might be a better idea to use the Queen Charge. And there's a multitude of different siege machines that you can also bring too. Now, if you're going to be using the ZapQuake, you have a plethora of different ideas. You can go ahead and use the lightning on the Clan Castle and Queen if you can get those two. But another thing that you may want to look at is getting rid of the Clan Castle and the Eagle Artillery like I put right here. That way what you're able to do is you're able to get rid of the Clan Castle and Eagle and still Sui for the enemy Queen. A Sui hero means you're going to be using the Suicide Hero or a Hero Dive. You're going to be sending in your heroes for the enemy Queen and any other defenses near her like Infernos or air defenses. That way it's a lot easier for the rest of your attack. So that kind of sums up what you should be doing with this. Now, while we're kind of watching through this, I also want to mention to you guys the use of different siege machines. The Stone Slammer is going to be the common siege that you're going to be bringing in. For the most part, that is going to be the only siege that you're going to bring in order to continue to push through. So you may have noticed the use of the ZapQuake over the Clan Castle and Eagle, and this is enough so that then we can create the funnel for a Queen so she can step up for the enemy Queen. Now, another siege machine that you could bring is going to be the use of a Wall Wrecker. The Wall Wrecker is a great choice if you decide to go ahead and enter into the base opposite from the town hall. That means that you could get value such as an Eagle Artillery if it's smack dab in the center of the base, or if you're looking for other defenses like an Inferno Tower and the Queen who might be in the core of the base. So you really want to consider those different factors if you're going to be using the Wall Wrecker. Now, outside of this, the Suicide Hero or the Hero Dive is going to be pretty simple. You're going to be breaking open by using the Super Wall Breaker or regular wall breakers, and then you're going to be using a Baby Dragon on one side and the King on the other to create the funnel. That way, the Queen can step up. You may have already noticed the use of the Ice Golem in order to provide more support for this Queen. That way she does not get taken down too early, and it's going to be a lot easier for your Queen to step up to take care of the enemy Queen. That way we can use the ability, get through her, get through the multi-target Inferno, and get through the last air defense. Now, air defenses are going to be an extremely vital and important part to this attack, because you need to know where they're pathing. So at this point, you can use a Lava Hound here or 2 Lava Hounds, and then you could also use the Stone Slammer if you decide on using it. But you'll see here that we're going to be dropping in a Siege Bear, or we're going to be dropping in either a Siege or Lava Hound on either one of these to provide a tank. That means that we're going to have balloons going in on each of these other defensive structures, and we're moving everything towards this other air defense. That way they're kind of moving into this sort of L shape. And that's exactly what you want to make sure that you're able to do, is provide that L shape pathing for the balloons by just creating a little wedge in the base to make it a lot easier. So now you'll see that we're sending in the Lava Hound and we're sending in a couple of these balloons, and we're making it a lot easier for us to move through. So the reason that we're using the Warden between 2 groups is that way it's going to be able to protect them by giving that life aura. On top of this, we've also got the use of the freeze on top of things like multi-target Infernos to provide more support for the balloons as they go through a specific splash building. And you can see here that we're using the haste spells to get to other key defenses like the Expos, air defenses, and wizard towers. We could also use the Warden ability over a couple groups of balloons when they really need it the most. And that way what we're able to do is push the balloons through the base, getting them to go to each and every single defense. And that way what they're able to do is provide a lot of support for the rest of the attack. Because you want the haste spells to be used to get the balloons closer to other defensive structures, and so that then they can take out those buildings a lot quicker. So this gives you guys a really good idea of what you can go ahead and use when you're doing this attack, no matter if you're doing an Electron, if you're doing a Queen Walk or Queen Charge Lalo, or even a Zap Lalo like you saw here. So there's a lot of different ways that you can really use this attack strategy here at Town 11. So hopefully that kind of sums up everything that you need to know about it. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see next, and let me know what you think about the style of content that I'm doing here, simplifying it for you guys and making it easier for you guys to understand and 3-star more. On top of this, make sure you guys go ahead and check out any of the playlists I have down below. Those ones will give you access to all my Town 11, 12, and Town 13 playlists on different attacks. And along with that, make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell for more educational yet entertaining Clash of Clans content. On top of this, make sure that you guys go ahead and follow me on the social, join my Discord server, and use code CorruptYT in the Clash Champs shop to save 10% off your purchase. I'll leave a link down below for the Clash Champs shop. Other than that though, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Corrupt, signing out.